Today, Bitcoin soars yet again, crossing $98,000 for the first time. And Anchorage Digital CEO Nathan McCauley weighs in on what institutions are saying about the crypto rally. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Katie Tarasov. It's another day of records for Bitcoin as the cryptocurrency crossed $98,000 for the first time this morning. By noon Eastern, it retreated from that all-time high, but traded more than 3%. Ether, meanwhile, jumped nearly 8%, and Polygon's Pole token gained 0.25%. With Bitcoin hitting record after record since the election, investors have been wondering how long the rally can last. Galaxy Digital's Mike Novogratz joined Squawk Box this morning, where he said to prepare for a pullback.
I am very confident we don't go back below 80. Very confident, right? That's kind of where we took off for 76, 77, pre-election, that election move. It would be shocking to me if we went back. But listen, there's a ton of leverage in the system right now. You look at these 3 times levered, MicroStrategy ETFs, 2-time levered. You look at the funding rates to do crypto in our market, right? The perpetual market, as high as they've been. The basis is high. And so the crypto community is levered to the gilts. And so there will be a correction.
Okay, one big story we're tracking this afternoon. The SEC says Gary Gensler will leave the commission on January 20th. A Thursday press release noted that Gensler's departure will be effective at noon on Inauguration Day, just as Trump takes office. Gensler said, "I thank President Biden for entrusting me with this incredible responsibility. The SEC has met our mission and enforced the law without fear or favor." The move from Gensler comes after Donald Trump promised on the campaign trail to fire Gensler, as he was seen as hostile to the crypto industry. Trump is reportedly now looking to seat a new SEC chair who will be friendlier to the technology. Under Gensler's tenure, the agency filed more than 100 enforcement actions against crypto companies. For the latest on how this is affecting prices, be sure to check CNBC.com. All right, let's jump to our main story. Crypto markets and potential regulation under Trump's next administration are still in focus. Crypto World's Mackenzie Sigalos spoke to Anchorage Digital's co-founder and CEO Nathan McCauley to find out what the digital assets platform is hearing from institutions.
So Nathan, talk to me about what you've been hearing from institutions since the election.
So institutions were already, I think, prior to the election, interested in coming into the digital asset ecosystem. I think there's been a lot of pent-up demand. We saw that last year with the growth of the Bitcoin ETFs. Now that has been even more accelerated, where we're seeing not just, say, buy-side firms who are looking to take positions here, but also sell-side firms starting to say, how do I build a Bitcoin business on top of the new administration and everything that's coming in. So I think there's a lot of opportunity both on people looking to invest in Bitcoin and more traditional players looking to come into the Bitcoin ecosystem. Expectation of repeal of SAB 121 and a number of other blockers that we think will be a catalyst for more growth in the digital asset ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, we've got options that are listing on both the NASDAQ and NYSE this week. It's almost baked in at this point that the SEC will just abolish SAB 121 on their own because it doesn't require an act of Congress. And then the third piece of this trifecta is really getting some sort of comprehensive crypto market infrastructure bill passed into law in the new session, which would then really open the doors to Wall Street feeling comfortable investing cash. That's my understanding. Is there any other piece of this that needs to come into place, or is that really the 3 criteria here for institutions?
I think those are all directly part of it. What I would add to that is, President Trump campaigned on a couple of very interesting ideas. The first one being the strategic nature of stablecoins to the dominance of the U.S. dollar globally as a big buyer of treasuries and as an opportunity to really kind of expand the reach of the dollar. So I think we're going to see stablecoins play a big role in that. And then also the idea of the Bitcoin strategic reserve. It's almost in itself a self-fulfilling prophecy where, because people are thinking about the U.S. maybe allocating towards a Bitcoin strategic reserve, we're seeing some of the state governments start to look at that. Also interest from other sovereign wealth funds globally that are going to be interested in that. This is just going to drive, I think, more demand among the institutional investor base for taking positions in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I've been speaking with different members of the crypto industry who are advising the Trump team. And, there is some question around whether he could, through an executive order, launch an SBR. And if he is able to, if it's worth the expenditure of political capital, where do you stand on that?
I'm a big fan of it. Warren Buffett famously said that his favorite holding period is forever. Trump at Nashville said that the most important thing with your Bitcoin is that you never sell. So I think the first point of that is the U.S. already owns a bunch of Bitcoin via the law enforcement agency work that has happened over the last several years. So that's a great place to start, is just keep the existing Bitcoin and keep that forever. And then the idea of potentially allocating even more and maybe going out and market buying some makes sense if we want to be a big force in the next century around digital assets and about everything going on within this industry. I think it makes sense for the government to take a really good look at that. And so I think that's definitely something to consider. We're close with Senator Lummis's team that is thinking about that. And so I think it's a great debate to have here. And I would come down on the side of that makes sense for the U.S.
Are you in touch with Donald Trump or members of his transition team?
So the transition team, I think, is very focused on picking some of the high level appointments, and so we as Anchorage have been in contact with them before. We participated in the roundtable at Bitcoin Nashville, and now kind of after the election, as they look to appoint people to run, say, the Securities Exchange Commission and the other federal banking agencies. There's a lot of very high impact choices there. And so we're looking forward to seeing which folks come out in any of those areas. We're supportive of many of the potential picks there. Many of them are crypto adjacent folks. And so very excited to see how that all plays out.
Would you single out any names that you put forth for either Treasury Secretary or SEC Chair? On the topic of Treasury Secretary, some of the names that are being thrown around. Kevin Warsh has been a friend to the crypto industry for a very long time. Actually, has been an advisor to Anchorage since the very earliest days, and so very supportive of him. Senator Haggerty has been wonderful, thinking about stablecoin legislation, the importance of stablecoins as a strategic asset, kind of globally. For the expansion of the U.S. dollar and its dominance globally, and then Mark Rowan has been within Apollo really pushing forward a crypto forward agenda there. So among those names, you can't really go wrong as far as we're concerned. We've seen the ETF market for the spot crypto products really heat up in the last few weeks. The collective AUM is now north of $115 billion just across the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Talk to me about Anchorage Digital's move into this market.
So we've been working with those issuers since before the Bitcoin ETFs were approved, in deep conversations with them. Now what we're seeing, certainly with the recent price action and then the expectation for further bullishness in the space, all of them looking to understand how they can diversify their custody situations. And so I think there's a lot of really good conversations happening there. We already are serving as a custodian to some of them and looking forward to seeing that partnership extend over time, where Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETFs will be only the first of many over time, where we'll see more of the digital assets either get kind of spot single asset wrapper ETFs, or even start to think about basket ETFs as more assets get added into that. And then looking even forward, we should see things like ETH ETFs being able to allow staking. The ETH ETFs have been surprisingly popular, given the fact that you can't participate in staking. It would be almost as if a bond ETF didn't get to have the coupons, and how boring would that be as an ETF? So I think the ETH ETFs being able to get staking, the other assets being able to get staking, all is on the table and should be interesting to see how that plays out.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.